Hello everyone, this is Computer Science 368 C++ for Java programmers for the fall semester 2020 at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. If you've arrived from somewhere else and are just enjoying the video, feel free to join us. For those of you guys taking the class, please note there's a ton of resources available on our Canvas website, and I'm going to be walking through some of those today. And we're going to get started with an introduction. So first up, outline for today, just a general course overview. We'll go through the syllabus. We'll talk about how to pass the class. We'll take a look at a sample program. Hello World is the first program most people write when they learn programming. We'll take a look at that, and then we'll compare that to the Java version. All right, this is going to be the first half of this week's material. That's my son in the background, sneezing. Patrick? Say hi to everybody. Yeah, so I'm a single dad, and Patrick will be joining us for most of these video lectures. He's going to be homeschooled, part of Madison's plan, so he'll be sitting right there. Today he's playing some inappropriate game for a 12-year-old that I'm too busy to stop him. All right, anyway, tomorrow I'm going to be going through a number of important, just how to do things for our course. We'll be taking a look at homework 1. We're going to do this on the CSL computers. So if you're new to Madison or you've never used one of those machines before, I'm going to walk through how to connect remotely to the CSL computers. Just an introduction to the terminal so we can navigate the terminal and access the compiler and the text editor. I'm a huge fan of Vim as my text editor, so I'm going to provide support for that. I'll do a tutorial on how to use Vim. If you have a different text editor or a different IDE you wish to use, you are welcome to do so. That's not the important part of this class. All right, so who am I? All right, so I got the camera shut off so that I'm not blocking the pictures. Next up, who am I? My name is Mike Dosher. Please call me Mike. If you opened up the PowerPoint version of these slides, I guess it'll be a PDF version online. You can just click the link there to email me. So I actually started out my career as a chemist. I've only been a computer scientist for about 10 years, but I got my degree in chemistry from the University of South Carolina. After that, I worked at the Naval Research Laboratory for 3 years as an independent contractor. That is a military lab in support of the Navy and Marine Corps. I did top secret stuff, can't tell you about it. After my contract ran out, I took a job teaching chemistry at Benedictine College. I was there for 8 years. Taught about half the classes that they offered. It's a small school in Kansas. After that, basically I got curious. I wanted to know more about computer science. Just how does this work? I used computers in my job every single day and just didn't know that much about it. So I started taking online classes. So just like you guys are doing now, I took a ton of online classes. So I've got a lot of experience on the student end of things. And when I learned enough to get into the graduate program, I actually came here to Madison and got my master's degree. I hadn't quite finished all of the courses that I wanted to take, so I did take a number of undergraduate courses here. So I've got a lot of experience being an undergraduate student right here in Madison at the university. All right, I got my master's degree and took a job as a software engineer at Syllabus Software. I did that for 3 years. And while I was doing that, I just taught an evening class. It was generally C++. We met 1 day a week. I also taught MATLAB for those 3 years, just one class at a time. And then I recently accepted a full-time job at the University of Madison as a faculty associate. So right now I've got C++, and I'm also teaching Data Programming 1. And between the two classes, we're looking at somewhere around 900 students. So I'm a little worried about that, but we'll see how it goes. All right, just a little bit more about me. The picture in the upper right here is actually a GE GrabCAD bracket. The software company I worked for made software that engineers use. So an engineer would design a part like that bracket, and then our software would go in and show them how to remove material. It would do a topology optimization. I suspect a lot of you guys out there are mechanical engineers, so this might be right up your alley. I worked with Suresh over in mechanical engineering. It's his company. But anyways, it shows the user or the engineer, where they can remove material. So it's still strong enough, but light as possible. This entire code base was written in C++. I've got a lot of experience working with C++. The 5 years that I was here studying for my master's degree, All the research I did was in C++, so I just thought I'd throw that out there. Got my picture of some flasks and beakers filled with colorful food-colored water. Got a Bunsen burner going in the background there. Nope, that's an oil lamp going in the background, just to represent chemistry background. I also really enjoy obstacle course races. I did 4 Tough Mudders now. They were canceled for this season. As far as I know, everything is canceled. I also enjoy sports where people try and hit me, so I've done a lot of kickboxing, taekwondo, that kind of stuff. Alright, so that's enough about me. Let's take a look at the course a little bit more. So if you go to the Canvas site and pull up the syllabus, the most important piece of information there is going to be the schedule. That's where all the links to all the content will be posted. And in fact, I'm going to just pause the video, pull that up, and just sort of walk through what's there. I'm going to talk about how to get a Piazza, how to get your CS account activated, because you'll need that to use the CSL machines, and then some other important details that may come up. One sec, let me pull that up. Alright, so I've got the home page from Canvas pulled up. This first homepage has the schedule right here, down at the bottom of this. Just some quick announcements at the top. Welcome everybody, I'm glad you're here. The link to the syllabus, the link to sign up for Piazza. Piazza, if you haven't used it, if you're new to Wisconsin, is a forum used by most classes where you can go and post questions and get answers on things. I'll pull up that link in a moment too. To activate your CS account, this will give you access to the CSL machines. Just click the link and the instructions are like way up at the top to activate things. Yeah, we're going to do all video lectures as described on the, when you registered for the class. I'm going to put them on YouTube and I'll post the links. I'm recording this video right now. There's no link, but it will be right here on the schedule when it's available. And Kaltura Media is over here on the left side. You can just click your Kaltura. I believe for students it's the gallery. It might be, I think this is just my version when I upload stuff myself. So you can see those there. Yeah, lectures are going to be released every Wednesday by 4:35. Today I'm kind of a little close. Hopefully I'll be like a day early for most of these. That's my goal. But to be honest, it's going to be the last minute. I'm pretty sure of it. We'll see. We'll see. If I do well, you guys can put that in my evaluation. All right, yeah, the first homework assignment is going to be released tomorrow with a number of extra videos about how to do it, how to use the terminal, how to use Vim. Okay, right. This is important. To access office hours, we put out a survey. The link to the survey is right there. Fill it out. It asks us, basically, where are you in the world? We're finding about 10% of students are not in the United States right now, based on what I've seen, just some quick polls of the other classes. So what we're going to do for office hours is I'd like to be available lots of different times, but for a class that's only 1 credit, it's pass-fail, I find that I schedule lots of office hours, but then you guys rarely need them. So what we're going to do instead is use a ticket queue. It's basically like signing up for an appointment. So sometime before office hours begins, you'll fill out the little survey that asks you for your name, your ID, your question, and that puts your name in a queue. At the to be determined times, and I'll get that filled out as soon as I get some survey responses with when you guys want office hours. Just make sure you've put your name in the, filled out the ticket queue, and you're in the queue then. If there's a lot of students, I'll send you an email with your position number. It takes about 10 minutes to meet with each student. If there's no tickets in the queue, then office hours are canceled. When I finish meeting with everybody, when the queue is completely empty, office hours are over. I'll stick around for a couple minutes if you're like running behind a little bit. But if there's one student, office hours will probably only last 10 minutes. If nobody comes, they're canceled. If there's 25 people there, I'll stick around and meet with as many people as I can. So we'll just see how that goes. If it's not working well, we'll upgrade to something better. All right, and then here's the schedule. All the topics we'll be covering. I believe we have 15 weeks in the semester. I got to double check that. Anyway, on the first lecture, here we are today. Let me just take you through the syllabus real quick next. There we go. So there's a bunch of required stuff to be accredited. So I got that. I got this information. That's all required. The official statement, all that stuff is required. Here we go. Good stuff. So this course is about C++, particularly for people who already know Java. And here's the topics we'll be covering. If you guys have any requests for things that you would love to see covered, we'll put out a survey about halfway through the course that asks you what else do you want to see, what special topics are not on the if you know right now a special topic that you'd like to see covered, go ahead and send me an email and we can work it in. All right. Let's see. This one's important. No required textbook. All the readings will be supplied online. I do have some recommendations in the back when we get to the PowerPoint slides that I'll give you guys if you were like really excited about C++ and want the best resources out there. If you have a visa from the McBurney Center, go ahead and send me that. If you think there's something I can do to make your experience in this course better. There aren't any exams. It's all just going to be a couple of homework assignments. So let me know what I can do for you. Let's see. Yep, here's the link to activate your CS account again. Just click there. I got that in several places. And then here's how lectures will be done. I'm just going to do... Actually, I got a mistake right there. 50-minute lecture. So when I do my video lectures, I like to make them sort of guided learning experiences. So I'll do an example, and then I'll say pause the video, do this problem on your own, then come back and I'll show you how I did it. Lots of stuff like that. Follow along, guided experiences. So yeah, that's what I like to do for my videos. And I'm going to shoot for what you would get in a class that's 50 minutes long. Ignore the 75. I'll fix that. But the video length may be more or less than 75 or more or less than 50, depending on how much, I get pause the video and do this, or I do tend to ramble a little bit. I may do a couple of extra demonstrations just because I can't really predict what kind of questions people are going to think about while you're watching the video. And so if I do a couple of extra things, they may answer questions that pop up in your mind. So I may go over a little bit for that reason. All right, again, no required textbook. Here's a list of resources that are really great. The C++ Primer is one of my favorites. That's a giant book, really professional, well done. If you get a job where you are a C++ programmer, then you want to buy that book. It's great. Let's see, another one. Yeah, Stack Overflow is a great place to get questions answered. Here's the style guide we'll be using for the course. I'll put a link to that and highlight the pieces that I really care about in the first homework project description. Let's see here. Communication. Piazza, we're definitely going to... Wait, I skipped Canvas. Everything you need will be right here on Canvas. All of the links will be in that schedule. Piazza is a great place to ask questions if it's outside of office hours. Just a quick note here. Please do not post code from your homework that's more than 5 lines long. I'd prefer you didn't post any code and ask general questions. If you need to, make them private posts. And also with regard to Piazza, in fact, let me pull that up right now for a quick sec. All right, so please, before you post on Piazza, take a look at the basic how to make Piazza good for everybody. If people post the same question over and over again, that's known as Piazza bloat, it can be hard to find useful information. So as you write your post, if you're talking about homework 1 and a particular function, go ahead, put the name of that function. I'll often specify the function names I want you guys to use. Put them in the title of the Piazza post. I've got folders for different homework assignments up at the top. Choose the right one. And if you guys could help me out, as you see people produce questions that have already been answered, instead of answering them again, use the little @ symbol followed by the number of questions. That will, and that question number is right here at the top in the status bar or the URL bar. That will link them to the answer that's already there. And besides, it is really satisfying to search out, find duplicate questions, and just be a little passive aggressive with that @ link, and encourage everybody to help reduce Piazza bloat. We don't want to see hundreds of questions on the same topic. Okay, back to the syllabus. Email. I'm going to use this Fall 20 Computer Science 368 group to send announcements. I'll send one every time I release a video, and every time homework is due. You'll probably get about 2 emails a week from that list. And definitely send me an email if it's a question that's not appropriate for Piazza. All right, let's see here. Goals. This is required by the university. Grading. Ooh, here's how you pass. I've got a slide on this with some clip art, so we'll do that. Please let me know if you have any sort of accommodations. Oh, the late policy. So we're doing homework assignments. My late policy, I like to think, is more generous than a lot of other faculty members. Basically, it's not late until we start grading. It's really no extra work for me to include one more assignment when I run my automatic grading script. Takes an extra few milliseconds. So as long as we get it in there before we run that automatic grading script, we're going to consider it on time. Project I'll do at 11:59. I don't stay up late to grade, but I do sometimes get up early. And I want to make sure that everybody who has a problem, if your code doesn't compile for some reason, that I can get back to you right away and let you know that, I need you to fix something. I'm not going to fix your code. I'm not going to change anything. But if something minor went wrong, I don't know how many times I've forgotten to put my name on assignment. And then the last second I type my name, and that's the line that causes it to not compile, and I get a 0. Something dumb like that. We're going to help you guys fix those to make sure that you get credit for the work you do. And so I will run that grading script early in the next day to let you know that something needs to be resubmitted. I think something is just generally late. We will accept work up to 1 week late for half credit, except for the very last project. We're not able to accept work after the last day of lecture. So, and you can see the course schedule for this deadline. Actually, I don't think I put it there yet. I'll get it up there. And because we use a lot of automatic grading tools for a class this size, if you think that we've made a mistake or we overlooked something, or our automatic grader marked something wrong because of the way that you interpreted the question, we'll definitely look at that as a regrade. Just send me an email. Send the TA who graded your work an email, and we'll get that resolved. And some things that we help you with, any sort of configuration issue, we're going to grade all of the homework on the CSL machines, so you need to make it work there. If you do something that only works on a Windows machine, we're going to let you fix it, and then we'll regrade it. Some bugs are just straight up caused by random weird things that happen that don't happen all the time. If one of those pops up, we'll go ahead, we'll let you fix that and regrade that. Cheating. I got a whole section on cheating, but obviously if you cheated, you've got big problems. Faking is another thing that we'll see sometimes. Not so much in this class, but it could happen. This is where you know that the code needs to pass a specific test, and so you write it in a way that it only passes that test but doesn't work in the general case. Like if you write a function that computes the area of a square, the two sides, length of the side times the length of the other side, but we're going to test it with a side length of 10. All you need to do is produce the number 100 and you'll pass that test. But it won't work for a square of any other side length. I already mentioned code that doesn't compile, but also I generally provide a blank template to be filled in. If you turn in the original template, that happens to 2 people a week. I want to be able to let you know immediately that this was a problem and let you make sure you resubmit your real answer. You can resubmit files as many times as you want. So as it gets close to that deadline, go ahead, send in whatever you've got done and then keep working. Send in the next version. We will grade the most recent on-time version. And project grading is results oriented. It really doesn't matter how much you worked or how much you had to learn to get there. It just means your code needs to run and complete the project. All right, so I do want to talk a little bit about cheating. I caught 10 people last semester over the summer cheating out of 82 students. It's more than 10%. And I think there's a real temptation online to think, well, other people are going to the internet. I need to do at least as well as them. I need to outcompete people. I need to be better at cheating than other students in order to do well. This course is graded. It's not curved. It's just based on the homework that you do. So I'd like to encourage you to do your own work. I mean, this course meets no requirements whatsoever. Nothing. You're here because you want to learn C++. So the only way you're going to do that is to do your own work. But some things I just want to sort of go over what's acceptable and what's not. You can talk about the code with people from the class. You can post comments about code without directly posting code to Piazza. You can talk about pseudocode or even post diagrams, flowcharts of how the code should work. You can help people out by pointing them to resources like other Piazza posts, or Stack Overflow is a great resource. You can actually copy code from the internet if you cite it. If the project solution happens to be leaked online, do not use that. And try and keep what you're citing short, concise, specific, not large blocks of code that are, choose the pieces that actually do what you need them to. What is not acceptable is looking at anyone else's project code, copying and pasting it directly. emailing your code, giving it to someone else, that's also against my rules. Taking pictures of the solution. Because there are a lot of people when we use automatic grading for most of what we do, it's really hard for us to catch similar projects, by just looking at them. So we use a similarity detection software called MOS. This is an excellent package. It actually looks at program structure rather than like an essay would compare common string lengths. And so this, because it's looking at structure, it doesn't care what you've named your variables. It doesn't care what order you declare them in. If you move pieces around, it doesn't care where your functions are located. It doesn't care where your comments are. It just knows that your code has the same structure as someone else's, and it flags that, and then I can go take a look at it. This is a serious offense. I report all instances to the Office of Student Conduct. There's one more letter in there. I'm missing a part of the name. I'll look it up. So anyway, do not cheat. All right, a couple other things. With regard to recommendation letters, I get a lot of requests for recommendation letters for people who take the class like this. Unfortunately, if you guys are trying to get into graduate school, to be straight up honest with you, passing a 1-credit pass-fail class is not going to let me write a great letter for you. In fact, letters like that are called did well in class and commonly abbreviated, and these are ignored. It basically tells the school you're applying to that you don't have someone better to write a letter for you. So if you do need a letter of recommendation for me, you need to do something interesting that I have something to write about. Do another project and show it to me out of class, something that demonstrates I need to be able to answer the question, will you do well in graduate school? And so anything that stresses that you're curious, you're highly motivated, you have the ability to perform research is what I'm looking for. That's what I need to be able to see before I can write a good letter. All right, the rest of this stuff, I believe, is just things I'm required to put in to be accredited for the university. So credit hour, course evaluation. Oh yeah, you guys have the power to evaluate me. I take this very seriously. I want to know how I'm doing and what I can do to make the class better. Yeah, don't cheat. Yeah, very important. If you have some sort of disability that I can work with you to make your experience better, I want to do that. But I don't know what to do unless you tell me. And then diversity and inclusion is very important in the university, and I embrace that also. So if you see any instance of the university in any way not being an inviting place for you, please let me know. All right, now we're back over in PowerPoint. I finished what I wanted to do with the syllabus. Just a couple of notes. This course is designed for students who have had at least one programming course in the past. Preferably Java or something very similar like C would be great. There's going to be some overlap with C, but most of what I'm going to do is compare the C++ code I'm writing to Java. So if you are familiar with another programming language, like Python or something that is a little different from Java, you'll probably still be okay, but a lot of the examples will focus on Java comparisons. Basically, we're going to learn to implement all of the structures you learned in CS200, potentially 300, as well as a bunch of features that are unique to C++. I took a look at the my UW breakdown of the class roster, and we've got 5 freshmen, 15 sophomores, 30 juniors, 35 seniors, and 5 graduate students. Okay, just want to highlight that the course is targeting this sophomore level, students who have had one previous programming class during the fall semester. When it's offered during the spring, freshmen who have had one previous programming class, they're my target audience. So I'm assuming that if you are one of these 35 senior graduate or graduate students who have taken tons and tons of computer science classes, hopefully you'll find this to be not that difficult. It's just doing something you already know how to do in a different language. But so when you go and come to evaluate me, this course has this curse associated with it for evaluations because there's so many different ability levels in the class. So some people say, wow, this course is impossible. I barely know Java, and this was really hard. And for you guys down here at the senior end, graduate students, they're like, this was a waste of my time. I already knew everything. Everything was so easy. It hardly took me any time. So bear with me. When you evaluate me, if you're at this bottom end down here, the advanced students, think about the courses targeting sophomores. How did I do at reaching a sophomore level? You guys were just there 2 years ago. That's what I really want to know. I want to hit that target audience. But I can see that we are weighted a little heavier toward this end of things. All right. How to pass the class. I got my pole vaulter there. This is the bar right there you have to meet. It's a credit, no credit class. There's no option to get a letter grade in this class. We're going to have approximately 7 homework assignments, and a lot of those have 2 parts. So it's going to be a little bit of work every week is my goal for those 15 weeks. You must achieve a 70% or better on the homework assignments at the end of the day, and you actually have to attempt all of the homework assignments. And by attempt, I'm thinking that's about a 50%, the bar is about 50%, but that's going to depend on the particular homework assignment, where that it's exactly fitting. Okay, I think I said this was all on the syllabus. It's not late till we start grading. Up to 50% credit if up to 1 week late. Submit as often as you want. We work with a lot of different kinds of errors and let you improve things. Automatic grading, regrade request. Oh yeah, I don't think I said this. If you need help with a regrade, it must be submitted within 1 week of our grades being released. You'll get an email when grades are released. I believe it's automatic through Canvas as soon as we push that button that says, it's something like don't hide the grades anymore, that it sends an email to everybody. That starts the timer for the 1 week. So this means during the last week of the semester, if you realize you just fell short of 70%, you can't go back and ask for a regrade on homework 1. It's too late. We need to keep up. I don't have time for that during the final week. All right. Absolutely do not cheat. I just went over the syllabus. If you care, just one more little detail. MOS is that measure of software similarity that we use for catching cheaters. If you just look this up, this is absolutely fascinating how they do it. And someone out there did their senior project on how to get around MOS. If you guys want to try it, I think you will actually learn more about programming in C++ by trying to take some code and actually defeat MOS. And to be honest, I was kind of thinking that might be a cool homework assignment to try someday, but I don't want to encourage cheating. And I don't want people to be able to get around it. I want to catch the people who are cheating. All right, so let's see here. Please fill out the survey on Canvas. This is going to help me decide what to do for office hours when you guys want to see me. Gauge the experience level for class. On that quiz, I just want to point out too, the Canvas autograder will give you a 0. It's worth 5 points. There's no need to send me an email. I get 40 emails a day about normal stuff. But I'll fix this when I tabulate the results and go through this sometime next week. I'll make sure everyone gets full credit who fills out the survey. Homework 1 is released tomorrow, due the following week, and this is going to include a video about using the CSL computers, the terminal, and Vim. Oh yeah, here's those resources that I was talking about. The C++ primer, I've got a link here in the PDF that's available online. That's this book right here. This is the one I would recommend buying if you ever get a job where you're going to be programming in C++. I'm using C++ for Java programmers for the table of contents. And that's it. I'm going to just go through this book in order. It's from 2003, and a lot of it is very much out of date. And in fact, if I say something about Java that's out of date, I got it from this book. You guys can send me a comment in the YouTube comment section and just let me know where I need to update something. My C++ is mostly coming out of this book, so it should be up to date. All right. Yeah, and then the web resources, we'll have links on Canvas. So here we are. That was the course overview. I'm going to be providing support for how to compile using the CSL machines, using the command line, and using Vim for editing. That's enough. I think for an online course where I can't actually guide people through installation of an IDE, because it can be a little challenging. Setting up the tools can be one of the hardest parts of this course. That's what I'm going to do this semester. Last semester I used Eclipse. It's available for Windows, for Linux, for Mac. It's decent. The claim to fame here is that you can use it on any platform, and that's why I chose it. But it's beastly to install and get it to work, because you need to install not only the IDE, but also a separate compiler, merge them together. And it was a real challenge for a lot of students. And while I was there in classroom, I could hang out after class and help people walk through that. I don't really have that opportunity now, and so I feel like this is not something that's going to be achievable for this online version. And the previous versions of the course have all used the Linux command line. I think I'm the only one that ever taught this class to use Eclipse. But you're welcome to do so. Last year I used Eclipse. CDT is the C and C++. That's what the C stands for. Development something. And I use a Windows machine. If you need help with a Mac, I'm decent. I don't actually own a Mac, so it might be a little difficult for me to help troubleshoot, but definitely ask questions. Put them on Piazza. Hopefully someone will know the answer. There's a lot of great IDEs out there. You're welcome to use pretty much anything. I've used Visual Studio in the past. I've used Qt. Those are great for Windows. If you use a Mac, just go do a quick search for best IDE for C++. The most important thing is that you learn to use these tools efficiently. People who get good using Vim can program faster than anything else. They never have to take their fingers off the keyboard. So I think it's a great tool to invest some time learning, particularly at this level. If you're going to become a programmer or software engineer as your profession, this is really great, something to learn. So the next thing I want to do is just jump over to a CSL machine and go through writing a Hello World program and talk about each line and how it compares to what we'd see in Java. One sec. Alright, so I'm over here on a CSL machine. Make that, move the focus. Alright, and what I'm going to do now is just use Vim to create Hello World. All C++ programs end in with the extension CPP, and I'm just going to call it HW, short for Hello World. So open up Vim. I'm going to push I to get into insert mode, and now I can start typing. So the first thing I'm going to do is all programs in C need a main function. So main. They take parameters and they return type int. Okay. I need curly braces to indicate the scope of the function. There we go. When I have program arguments, I'm going to have two things I need to insert here. So if I'm getting arguments from the command line, I will have an int arg C for argument count, and a character array, char star arg values, argv. Okay, so that's what it's going to look like. Very similar to what you'd see for a main function for Java. Some significant differences, I suppose. Okay, next thing I want to do, because I'm doing Hello World, all I'm going to have this program do is print out Hello World. So the command to print something is cout. This is a stream operator, so I need the double less than brackets. Hello World. And then I'm going to put an end line on the end of this. Finally, every function needs to end with a return statement. And main returns an integer, and 0 is going to be what I'm returning to indicate that there's no error. Alright, a couple other things I'm going to need. This cout right here and the end line, basically the stuff to print, are all found in a file that I need to include. I missed. So I'm going to use a preprocessor directive include iostream, and this is going to be in angle brackets. Alright, the other thing I'm going to do is, because actually for right now I want you to just treat this as magic, and just include it in everything. I'm going to include using namespace std. Alright, the idea here is that cout belongs to this namespace. It's like a package in Java standard, and so I either can include the namespace standard, or I can use names like, I can just say that this cout is in package standard or library standard. I guess namespace is the right word. Okay, so there we go. I'm going to do colon or escape to get back to the command mode, and then W to write, Q to quit. And that should take me back over here. Now, to compile this, the command is G++. Alright, I was about to type GCC. GCC is the C compiler, GNU C compiler. We want C++, so that's G++ for GNU C++ compiler. And then if I could just do hw.cpp, this is where it tells me all the mistakes I made. And I rarely get things right on the first try. I find that there's a lot of value in live coding and making mistakes, because some of the error messages are just downright cryptic. All right, when I do this, you can see that it's created this a.out file. It's because I didn't tell it what I wanted it named. And this hello world was from when I was practicing the lecture. It's still here. I'll show you that in a second. Yeah, so to run the code, I just need / to say use the current directory. My account here is filled with a.out all over the place because I use that without renaming things all the time. So I need / to say use the one in the current directory, a.out, and it should just print hello world. So it looks like this is working. If I want to rename it, I'm going to use up arrow to get back over here. I'm going to use -o to give it an output file name, and we'll call this just straight up HW. Now I can see that there's an HW with a star as an executable. So I can use /HW to get the one in this directory, and I've got two versions that actually do the same thing. Alright, real quick, I've got the Java version of the Hello World project. Here, I just wanted to go through and run this, and then I'm going to come back and compare the two versions line by line and talk about the similarities and the differences. So I've got the Java version here. Let me go ahead and put the focus over here. We'll get out of this. So I've called this hello world.java. So let's see here. Java C, hello world.java. That should create hello world.class, and now I can just run that with Java hello world, and it also prints hello world. So it looks like that's working also perfect. Just like to make sure before I start comparing line by line, because last year I messed it up and the students were like all over me for making mistakes in Java. All right. So we'll take a look at this version right here. I'm going to activate this part of the code again. So first up, if you've never seen this before, to write comments in C++, you've got failing a bunch of choices. The / will block anything that's after it. I can still put legitimate code at the beginning of the line, so just like in Java. All right, I'm going to delete that. I can also comment out large blocks of code with the /*, and then at the other end, the //. Okay, and that's just going to comment out this block of code right here. And this structure right here on line 3 and line 12 is known as a comment switch. So check this out. If I remove the /, it comments out everything between these two guys. If I put it back in, then this is all back ready to be used. All right. It's basically, here's the /* from the block comment. Here's the */ for the end of that. All I'm doing is turning this into a // so the star is ignored, and that closes off the block comment. And this / over here comments out this part of the block comment structure. Anyway, if you've never seen that before, I use it all the time when I'm teaching to like activate certain pieces of code in a larger file. Okay, next up, let's go through this line by line and just talk about the similarities and some of the differences. So first, both of these programs have a main function. So I've got main right there and main right here. They've got different prototypes, but in both cases, the parentheses tells you that it's a function. In C++, this is in global scope. It doesn't need to be part of a class. And we're only allowed one main function per program. In Java, you can have one main function per class, but only one per project in C++. The return type is an integer. In this case, 0 indicates that there is no error. Let's just go demo how to actually read that. So I'm going to switch focus back. Get out of here. Now I should have, yep, HW is still here. This was my C++ version. When I run this, it prints hello world and then returns that basically error code to the operating system. To print that out, I can do echo, and then $? is the command that gives me the error code. And there it is, 0. Alright, so we're back over here in Vim, and the last thing I want to point out is the command line arguments are here as the function parameters. We have the number of arguments, and we're also argv is the values of those arguments. This is char ***. This is a pointer to a pointer. is what this means. Pointers are in lecture 4. I'll explain in great detail. We'll devote the entire lecture to it. Basically, this is an array of strings, and a string is an array of characters. So it's an array of arrays of characters. Just like we see, we have an array of strings for the Java version. Okay, next up, I want to talk about this include line. The pound sign here is because I'm looking at the Java version, and Vim is trying to help me out, saying that this is incorrect. But the include command in C++ is a preprocessor directive. So as the compiler runs, the first thing it does is it goes through and finds all these preprocessor directives. And the include one just says, go grab the contents of this file, iostream. This is a library file stored somewhere on the system. It's a system-dependent location, depending on whether you're Windows or Linux, wherever your compiler is stored. And the brackets mean use the system version. It's just going to copy that entire file right here into the program as it's into the file as it's being compiled. If we've got a user-defined header or an include that we want to get copied in, this will be in just regular quotes, regular quotes, my header file, something like that. So I would use regular quotes for that. All right, next up, yeah, and iostream is the basically package that includes the functions for cout and endline. All right, next up, this using directive. I do want to say a little bit more about that. It's a lot like the import directive in Java, like you might import java.lang. In Java, all of the classes in the package java.lang are automatically known, and we don't require the full name for everything. C++ is not like that. The full name of cout is std : cout, but I can leave off that, essentially Java version of the package name if I include using namespace to just say that look in std for all these functions that you've never heard of before. All right. Then for output, this command right here, cout, I believe stands for console out. I've heard some other versions of the translation of this, but this is just going to print stuff to the console, or the screen in this case. This is a string literal, and that's what's going to be printed, followed by printing the end line. ENDL is not only just a return, but it flushes the print buffer so that it all gets printed immediately as soon as we hit that end line. It's basically equivalent of system.out.println that we see here in the Java version. All right, back over in PowerPoint, I just want to do one more quick demonstration. And basically, I want to go through stuff from Java that works exactly the same in C++. Or maybe a better way to say it is that if it works in Java, it also works in C++. And so basically, if you write a Java version of a for loop, or an if statement, or a while statement, or a variable declaration using any of these types, it will work using the Java version. C++ may have minor differences that let you do some extra things, particularly with regard to variable scope. In addition, I'd like to point out that C++ has a bunch of extra options for Boolean expressions also. They're not just true-false, but they're translated into numbers and evaluated that way. All right, at this point, I'm just going to do one more demonstration. If you guys feel good about this, you can go download the code from Canvas, take a look at it if it all makes sense. If you're good with Java, I'm demonstrating things that work the same way. If you're a Python programmer, these may be a little different, so an example of the syntax might be good. If you just enjoy hearing things you already know, feel free to stick around. I'm going to write a program. Oh, the other thing that it might be worth sticking around for the beginning, because I'm going to talk about getting user input from the keyboard. So let me just go ahead. We'll do something simple. Pound 2 kilograms. And I need that .cpp to make it a C++ file. All right. So we'll start off with a main function. I don't actually require any command line input, so I'm just going to leave that out. And then the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and say, Mike, how much do you weigh? we'll go ahead, we'll just end that right there without the end line. And then we'll just declare a variable. We'll get this in pounds. Let's see, then we'll do cin, going the wrong way, yeah, cin, it's that one, the stream insertion operator. Extraction, stream extraction, I gotta look that up. Use the right words, Mike. We'll go ahead and grab pounds and store it in this variable. So this is all there is to grabbing input from the user. Declare a variable, use cin to grab one piece of data from the keyboard. And then because I'm doing pounds to kilograms, we'll need the conversion factor. 1 second, I'm going to go look that up. 0.454 pounds per kilogram. So I can just do, let's print out my weight. Cout you weigh conversion factor. Wow, can I not type today? 10 pounds, kilograms. Probably want a space there. End line. Okay. Return 0. Let's go see what mistakes I made. Oh, I can see one already. Include stream because I'm using both cin and cout and end line. I want to do that. And I did not type that full name for cout, so I also want to use using namespace standard. Alright, that looks pretty good. Let's go see what mistakes are left. So G++, pounds to kilograms. Alright, missing a quotation mark. Oh, there it is. Right after kilograms. Nope, right there. Alright, so I missed a quotation mark. And that error message was missing terminating character. Alright, let's try this again, see what other mistakes are there. Nope, looking good. So I did not give it a name, so this should be in the default ./a.out. Let's make sure that's there. So first thing it's going to prompt me, Mike, how much do you weigh? I weigh 172.6 pounds. And, oh, I forgot a space there. That would look better with a space. We'll go back and put one in a second. That sounds about right. There's about 2 kilograms per pound. So I think I said that forwards. Yeah, about 78. That's about right. Our next thing I want to do is just real quick. Yep, this one. Just go ahead and add one other little, let's go ahead and compliment myself a bunch of times. So we'll make a Boolean variable, and then we'll assign a value to it. Great. Shape equals, let's see here, pounds less. Let's see if I weigh less than 1,000 pounds, that this will evaluate to true, and then I will be in great shape. So I can do this. I can just use a numerical expression and assign it to a Boolean value. Anything that's false is going to be 0. So 0 will be treated as false. Anything other than 0 is treated as true. So, and this pounds less than 1,000 is true. As long as I put in a number less than 1,000. And then let's if I can use those Boolean values in if statements. If I'm in great shape, if that's true, then create a scope block for my if statement. Let's just print out, wow, you're in great shape. Let's put spelling though. There we go. Maybe some exclamation marks. Alright, let me just wrap this up real quick. My son wants to use the microphone and make all kinds of noise. Alright, anyway, put end line right there. And then colon to end, semicolon to end that line. Else something like that. I don't know. Just having some fun. All right, let's see if this works. So first we will compile it and then run it. How much do I weigh? 177 this time. Yep. So it tells me my weight in kilograms. Wow, you're in great shape. So that looks like it's working. It didn't give me any compilation errors. So one last thing, I want to quick demo loops real quick. Let's just print this line 3 times if I'm in great shape. So for do int I equals 0, I less than 3, I plus plus, just like in Java. End of the scope block for the for loop. Tab that over so it looks good. So that'll print while you're in great shape 3 times. Let's do this too over here. We'll use the while loop this time. So we'll have a counter variable int I equals 0. We'll do a while loop while I is less than 3. Scope block. We'll print out. Wow, typos galore today. 1, 2, 3, 4. That looks all right. I plus plus. So this is a typical structure for a while loop in Java. It also is going to work in C++. I'll talk a little bit about the history and why they made that decision when they wrote the language, when they wrote Java. Let me real quick see what errors I made. Ooh, no errors. That looks good. Okay, so let's make sure this works. /a.out. How much do I weigh? 177. Yep, 3 times. Let's do it one more time. What if I weigh a lot more than that? There we go. Lots of kilograms. I love Mountain Dew also. All right, so I'm going to just go ahead and stop the recording. My son wants the microphone. If you have any questions, post them on Piazza. All this stuff will be available on the Canvas website shortly. Have a great day, everybody.